Hey everyone, and welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Into values.
That's right. We're going to be unpacking what they are
Why they matter.
and how they impact pretty much every area of your life.
It's a fascinating topic.
And honestly, I'm so excited about the source we're diving into today.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
It's called The Charter for an Authentic Life by Mental Wellness TV.
I've heard good things about that one.
It's incredible. It goes way beyond just defining values. It gets into the psychology.
The impact on mental health.
Even how technology might be shifting our values.
Yeah, so we're covering a lot of ground today.
Buckle up.
Okay, I'm ready.
So first things first, what are values?
Right, let's get back to basics.
How does the source define them?
Well, it describes values as the guiding principles that basically shape everything.
Everything.
Yeah, our actions, our choices, everything. Like a compass.
A compass.
Yeah, they make sure we're not just wandering aimlessly through life.
Makes sense?
But instead, they help us reach a destination that truly resonates with who we are, you know?
Okay, I get the compass analogy, but can you give me a real-life example? Like, how do values actually show up in someone's everyday life?
Absolutely. Imagine you're facing a tough decision.
Ooh, like what?
Say, do you prioritize financial gain, even if it means, I don't know, maybe compromising your ethics a little?
That's a tough one.
Or do you stick to your integrity, even if it means a financial setback?
Right.
Your values help you navigate that kind of crossroads.
So they kind of push you towards the path that feels right.
Even if it's the harder path.
Okay, now that's starting to click for me.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing what's right or wrong. It's about, like, feeling it deep down.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this source.
What do you mean?
It dives into the psychology of values.
Oh, interesting.
It argues that they're not just these intellectual concepts. They're tied to our emotions and motivations.
You know, I've definitely experienced that.
Yeah, so
Like, doing things that align with my values just feels good, you know?
that deep sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly. But when I go against them, it's like this nagging feeling of guilt or even shame, you know what I mean?
It's like a built-in feedback system.
Feedback system.
Yeah, rewarding us when we stay true to ourselves and sending out warning signals when we stray too far from our core principles.
That's a great way to put it.
So we know what values are, but what about beliefs?
Right. The source mentions values and beliefs.
And it makes a distinction between them.
Can you unpack that for us a little?
Sure. So think of values as the broad guiding principles.
Like justice, freedom, compassion.
Yeah, exactly. Beliefs, on the other hand.
Are more specific.
Right. They're what we hold to be true about the world.
And they're influenced by, like, our upbringing.
Our experiences, even our values.
Okay, so if I value honesty...
You might develop the belief that being truthful, even when it's hard, leads to stronger relationships.
That makes sense. So it's almost like values are the roots and beliefs are the branches.
And those branches can grow and evolve as we learn and experience new things.
I love that analogy. Okay, so now we know what values are, but how do we figure out what our own values are?
Right. Like, where do we even begin?
Like this big self-discovery journey. Huh?
Totally. And the source outlines a few key steps.
Like what?
Well, first, it encourages self-observation.
Okay, so paying attention to what matters to us.
Exactly. What brings us joy, even what makes us angry or frustrated.
Those emotional responses can be clues.
Big time. The source also recommends journaling.
Journaling.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool for self-reflection.
You know what? I've always found journaling helpful for processing my emotions. But I never really thought of it as a way to uncover my values.
Try it. Write down your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions to different situations, and see if you notice any patterns.
Okay, that's a great idea. Anything else?
The source also suggests thinking back to times when you felt truly happy.
Or fulfilled or proud.
Exactly, by revisiting those positive experiences.
You might be able to pinpoint the values that were at play.
The values that still resonate with you today.
This is already making me think differently about, like, the choices I make every day.
How so?
It's not just about what's easy or convenient.
It's about asking yourself, does this align with what I truly value? That's the heart of it. And speaking of choices, the source goes deep into how our values influence our decision-making.
In all areas of life.
What?
But, you know,
What?
maybe we should save that for next time.
Okay, you're right. We've covered a lot of ground already.
Let's give everyone a chance to digest all this.
Great idea. We'll be back soon to dive even deeper into the world of values. So we know our values shape our choices. But how does that work in practice?
Yeah, it's one thing to say, I value honesty. But then what?
Right, like how does that actually guide my decisions when I'm in the thick of it?
Well, The Charter for an Authentic Life has some great insights on that.
Oh, yeah.
It describes values as like a filter for our choices.
A filter.
So when we're faced with a decision, any decision really, big or small.
Right. Our values help us sift through all the options,
Okay.
highlighting the paths that, feel right.
The paths that resonate with our core beliefs.
Exactly. And kind of nudging us away from the ones that don't.
So instead of just, I don't know, weighing pros and cons or just going with my gut,
You should also be asking yourself,
asking myself what?
which choice feels more aligned with what I truly value?
That's a good question to ask.
And it's even more interesting.
What?
The source suggests that our values can sometimes even override logic,
Wait, where?
especially in situations where, emotions are running high.
Hold on. Are you saying that our values might lead us to make decisions that aren't the most practical or logical?
Well, think about it. Have you ever made a decision that just felt right?
Even if it wasn't the most sensible option?
Or even if everyone else was telling you to do something different?
Yeah, I think I have.
In those moments, your values might have been the driving force.
Like my heart was telling me one thing, even if my head wasn't so sure.
That's a great way to put it. It's like our values are this compass,
Guiding us to where we need to be.
even if the route isn't always clear.
I like that. So we've talked about personal decisions, but what about work?
Right. How do values play out in our professional lives?
How do they shape our careers and our interactions with our colleagues?
Well, the source highlights a few key values.
For professional growth.
Yeah, things like integrity, adaptability, and collaboration.
Those make sense, but can you break those down a bit more?
Sure. So let's start with integrity.
Okay.
Imagine working for a company that, really prioritizes ethical practices,
And transparency.
even when it's tough.
Doesn't that create a sense of trust?
Not just among colleagues, but with clients, too.
Absolutely. Makes you feel good about the work you're doing.
Right. Okay, now let's talk about adaptability.
Okay.
Things change so quickly these days.
All the time.
But if you value adaptability,
You're more likely to embrace new things.
new technologies, new skills, new ways of doing things,
And that helps you navigate those changes more easily.
it's like adaptability becomes a superpower.
In a world that's
Or-
constantly changing, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what about collaboration?
So when you value collaboration, you understand that teamwork is key.
It's about working together to achieve something bigger than yourself.
Communicating openly, supporting each other.
Learning from each other.
Exactly. And you know what?
But
The source emphasizes that these values aren't just, nice to have
they're crucial for success.
for building a fulfilling career.
So for anyone listening who's like leading a team or building a business,
It's essential to cultivate these values.
to build a strong workplace culture.
A culture where everyone feels valued and respected.
Okay, so we've talked about personal decisions, we've talked about work.
And what about relationships?
Yeah, how do values influence how we connect with the people we care about?
The Charter for an Authentic Life is very clear about this one.
How so?
Shared values are the foundation of any strong relationship.
So for a relationship to really thrive,
There needs to be some alignment in terms of what we each hold dear.
okay, so like if I value honesty and my partner values honesty,
Then we're more likely to understand each other.
even when we disagree,
Exactly. And we're more likely to support each other's growth.
it's like we have this shared language.
A way of seeing the world that allows for deeper connection.
And it's not about agreeing on everything,
It's about having that foundation of respect.
even when you have different opinions.
Exactly. And those shared values create a sense of safety
A sense of trust
that allows for vulnerability.
and authenticity within the relationship.
Well said. So, we've been talking about values within a single culture.
But what about values across different cultures?
The Charter for an Authentic Life dives into that too.
It's such a fascinating topic.
The world is so interconnected now.
We're constantly interacting with people from different backgrounds.
Who have different values and beliefs.
And the source makes a really interesting point.
What?
It argues that embracing this diversity is not just important for like global harmony,
It's also an incredible opportunity for personal growth.
to expand our understanding of the world,
Exactly. It's about seeing things from another person's perspective
appreciating the different ways people approach life.
without judging them based on our own values.
Right, because what might seem strange or even offensive to us,
Could be perfectly normal in another culture.
the source gives a really good example.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
It contrasts individualism, which is often emphasized in Western cultures.
With collectivism, which is often prioritized in Eastern cultures.
So in individualistic cultures, it's all about personal goals and independence.
While in collectivist cultures, group harmony and interdependence are key.
Exactly. And understanding these differences can really help us
Help us what?
navigate cross-cultural interactions with more sensitivity and respect.
I love that. Okay, I have a question that's been on my mind.
Okay, let's hear it.
What about values and ethics?
That's a big one.
Like, how do our values guide us when we face those tricky situations?
Where right and wrong aren't so clear-cut.
Well, the Charter for an Authentic Life talks about that too.
It does.
It suggests that ethics is like a framework for evaluating our values.
So ethics helps us figure out how to actually live by our values.
In the real world,
Even when it's hard.
yeah, because sometimes it's not enough to just say, this is what I value, so this is what I'm going to do.
Right, we have to think about the consequences of our actions
For ourselves and for others,
and make choices that minimize harm.
while still staying true to our values.
The Charter for an Authentic Life actually gives a great example.
Oh, tell me about it.
Imagine a company that's trying to decide whether to use cheaper materials that are bad for the environment.
Or more expensive materials that are sustainable.
It's a tough choice. They value environmental responsibility.
But they also have a responsibility to be profitable.
It's like a classic ethical dilemma. How do they even begin to make that decision?
Well, that's where ethics comes in.
Ethics helps them weigh their values and consider the consequences.
And make a decision that aligns with their overall mission and principles.
It sounds like navigating ethical dilemmas requires a lot of careful thought
And empathy.
and a willingness to, sit with the complexity of the situation.
Absolutely. And remember, there isn't always one right answer.
What matters is engaging in the process thoughtfully
And making choices that feel aligned with your values.
and your ethical framework.
This deep dive is really making me think
Me too.
about how my values are showing up in my life.
And how I can make choices that reflect what truly matters to me.
That's the heart of living an authentic life.
And you know what? The Charter for an Authentic Life goes even deeper.
It does.
It explores how our values shape not just our personal lives,
But the future of society.
and even our own sense of well-being.
Wow, there's so much to unpack here.
I know, right? And we're going to dive into all of that.
After a quick break.
Okay, so we've talked about how values impact our personal lives, our relationships, our work, even how we navigate those ethical gray areas.
It's a lot. But the Charter for an Authentic Life goes even further.
It does.
It talks about how values are, changing and evolving.
Especially with everything happening in the world right now.
Right, like with all the technological advancements.
Social shifts.
Exactly. The source actually highlights a few specific values.
Oh, like what?
Values like sustainability, equality, and solidarity.
As guiding principles for a better future.
It's like we're becoming more aware of our impact on the world.
Yeah, and more committed to creating a world that's fair for everyone.
I've definitely noticed that shift, especially among younger generations.
Me too. Like, people are really starting to prioritize things like environmental responsibility.
And social justice.
It's like there's this growing recognition that we're all interconnected
That our actions have consequences.
and that we have a responsibility to create a better future.
The Charter for an Authentic Life suggests that technology actually plays a big role in this.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, technology can be a powerful tool for connecting people
For sharing information.
and for amplifying these values that we're talking about.
It's like technology gives us this platform to, mobilize collective action.
To work together to create change.
Exactly. It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
It's about taking responsibility ourselves.
For creating the kind of world we want to live in.
Speaking of creating a better world, the source also talks about values and well-being.
Okay, now this is something I've always felt strongly about.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
I just feel like when I'm living in alignment with my values.
When your actions match your beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me happier, more fulfilled.
The Charter for an Authentic Life agrees with you on that.
It does.
It says that living in accordance with our values is essential for our well-being.
It makes sense, right? When we're living authentically,
When we're not compromising our core principles.
there's this sense of peace.
A sense of integrity.
Yeah, and when we go against our values,
I feel guilty.
ashamed, even anxious,
Like something's not right.
like that nagging feeling when you know you haven't been true to yourself.
That's a great way to put it.
The source also talks about gratitude.
Ah, gratitude is so powerful.
I've heard a lot about it, but I'm not sure I fully understand how it connects to values.
Well, gratitude is about appreciating what we have,
Focusing on the good in our lives,
recognizing all the things we have to be thankful for.
even when things are tough.
Exactly. And when we practice gratitude, we're more likely to act in ways that reflect our values.
Because we're reminded of what truly matters.
It's not just about feeling good, it's about letting those feelings inspire us to do good.
To make choices that align with what we believe in.
The source actually recommends a really simple practice.
What's that?
Keep a gratitude journal.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Just take a few minutes each day to write down a few things you're grateful for.
It's that easy.
It can make a huge difference.
Well, I think this deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening.
Me too. We've covered so much.
We started by defining values.
And explore how they influence our lives in so many ways.
Our decisions, our relationships, our work.
Even our sense of well-being and our vision for the future.
It's all connected.
And it all starts with understanding what we truly value.
So now that you've had this deep dive into the world of values,
Yeah.
what's one action you'll take to bring your life more into alignment with what matters most to you?
It's time to put these insights into practice.
Don't just listen. Do something. Start that gratitude journal. Have that tough conversation. Make that choice that reflects your true self.
Your values are your compass. Let them guide you.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your exploration.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep discovering the power of living a values-driven life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.